Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio, nourishing your soul 24 hours a day. Thank you for joining me. My name is Greg, and the name of my show is Spiritism, Healing, and Meditation. Cardiac Radio is 100% volunteer-based. It relies on your donations. We have over 4,000 podcasts that's available 24 hours a day on SoundCloud, Spotify, and at cardiacradio.com and other servers as well. So your donations are welcome. Thank you. My show today is show number 6, and it is about prana, the vital energy. And I will start by reading a quote from the book Science of Breath by Yogi Ramacharaka. Prana is a Sanskrit word meaning absolute energy. It is the universal principle of energy or force, and all energy or force is derived from that principle, or rather, it is a particular form of that principle. It may be considered as the active principle of life, vital force. To those of you who are spiritists, this sounds very familiar, doesn't it? We'll go to the book here, Genesis, and I will read one section here. The universal cosmic fluid is, as has been demonstrated, elementary primitive matter of which the modifications and transformations constitute the innumerable varieties of the bodies of nature. And also, we know that the universal cosmic fluid is that fundamental fluid that is available everywhere. And we know in passes that the way a pass works, that the pass giver may be giving away some of his what's known as vital energy, which is the condensed amount of the universal cosmic fluid formed into the physical body, its modifications. We have a certain amount of that as a medium or a healing medium or as a pass giver, and we're giving some of it away. But in reality, the spiritual mentors are feeding us with the universal cosmic fluid and allowing that to be passed through us. And so we are not depleted. So in Jusara Korngold's book, Spiritual Passes, she talks about the vital fluid. The vital fluid is a modification of the universal cosmic fluid. It generates nervous impulses that circulate through the body via the nervous system. The quality of the fluid will vary according to the nature of the living beings, inasmuch as the quantity. So we, as spiritists, know these principles, that there is this fundamental underlying universal cosmic fluid. This is the same thing that in India, in Vedic India, we're talking about prana, breath. To be very gross, breath. It is breath, but it's more than oxygen. It is that fundamental vital energy, and they're using the same terms here. The vital energy. So what I want to do in this show is talk about a practice known as pranayama. Prana is that absolute energy which exists everywhere and nourishes us. We know that if we stop eating, if we don't have any food, we might last, weeks, maybe even months if we got a lot of, if we're big, the body breaks down the fats. And if we stop drinking, we might last, a lot less time. But if we stop breathing, we're talking about minutes. that we have more deriving from the air, the energy that we get from the air, is absolutely critical. And the way we breathe is very important. And this is what pranayama teaches us. It's the yogic technique of practice of breathing. And its practice is much more than just breathing. So I would like to describe to you the practice in which how it works. One thing that we have is basically two ways to fill up the lungs. Actually, there are three, but fundamentally, for this, we'll just talk about the two ways. The one way, when we are absolutely in fight or flight mode, we're frightened, we feel threatened, we are breathing from up here. We are filling up the top portion of our lungs. It is a portion that allows us in situations to move quickly, and we're in threat mode at that point. It's useful, but it's not the way we should be breathing all the time. The way we breathe in the night when we're sleeping is different. If you watch a baby breathe, you will see the baby while it's on its back. You will see its belly going up and down, up and down. This is diaphragmatic breathing. This is something that I have spent a lot of time with, both in my practices of meditation and learning, but I've also spent many years studying voice. And the one thing when you're learning voice, you need to learn to breathe from the gut, from the diaphragm. The diaphragm breathing fills up the lungs from the bottom of the lung. The diaphragm is this curved shaped muscle, and it's dome shaped, and it goes down, and the lungs fill up, and it comes back up, up and down, and it's connected around the tops, we call it the bottom of the rib cage, and that's the diaphragm. It is a muscle, and that's the way we breathe in the night. That's the way a baby breathes. That's the way a singer breathes. Because you want to fill up the lungs from the bottom. You don't want to fill up from here. As a singer, if you fill up from here, you're putting a lot of pressure up here. And you don't want pressure on the throat. You want all your pressure down there. Okay, that's just an aside for a singer. So the first thing we want to do to understand the principle is to, maybe I should move this down just a little bit so you can see what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be putting one hand right here on my belly and one hand here. Now, when we breathe diaphragmatically, the belly extends out. We shouldn't feel much movement here. Goes out and in, slightly out and in. Put some pressure here and breathe through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. And out through your mouth. You should be feeling only movement on the belly, moving out and in, and not feeling that you're filling up here and the chest cavity is moving in and out. There may be some slight movement, But the main movement is in the belly. It also might be helpful in this understanding the way you breathe is to lie on the floor. And it's much more pronounced when we're lying on the floor to feel the belly moving in and out, in and out. This is the type of breathing that we will be doing when I show you how to do the pranayama. So we can try by just lying on the floor and breathing in and out through the mouth. And feel that muscle in the stomach moving in and out. When it goes out, it's collapsing, going back towards the back. When it's breathing in, we feel it slightly come out. Out and in, out and in. And what you're doing is you are filling up the lungs from the bottom of the lungs and not from the top. The fight or flight fills it up from the top and doesn't fill up the bottom of the lungs. This type of breathing is very useful in terms of health. We have better digestion breathing this way, breathing slowly and in and out as we do pranayama. It also lowers the blood pressure. And the opposite of that is this breathing up here very fast and high in the lungs. The blood pressure is higher. When we're in that fight or flight mode, it's like I say, it's useful in certain situations where we have to get up and move and run. But it's not what we want to do in order to relax. So the main benefit of pranayama is absolute relaxation. The second word, yama, is referring to the cessation of the breath. So the practice of pranayama is the slowing down and the cessation of the breath to where you get to the point where the body has slowed down so much that the breath can actually, for just a brief moment, be suspended. And this is the yogic practice of pranayama, that we actually transcend and go beyond all the physical activity of the body. And this can be measured in advanced meditators. They can see that the heart rate reduces, the breath rate reduces, the galvanic skin response indicates very relaxed states of consciousness. There are thousands of studies of this. And the very first principle of yoga is the pranayama. Of course, there's also the yoga asanas, the postures, and the pranayama is what we're going to be working on today. So you may want to experiment and try that and feel that breathing in and out, because that's where we're going to be breathing when we do the pranayama. So the practice of the pranayama, we use the right hand. This is traditionally what we do. We use the right hand, we use the thumb, and we use these two fingers, the ring finger and the middle finger. We start by placing the thumb on this nostril here. We're holding it closed because we're going to be doing alternating breathing. And alternating breathing in the pranayama is very useful because it tends to bring coherence between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So we start by, again, this will be the diaphragmatic breathing. We start by breathing out, then breathing in through the gut. Then we switch and we breathe out. So it's a slow breath. It's a slow, steady breath. What's comfortable with you? What is comfortably slow for you? Some people might be slower. Some people might be a little fast. You don't want to feel like you're hyperventilating, getting too much oxygen. Or you don't want to feel like you're starving yourself and not getting enough oxygen by going too slowly or holding the breath too long. Basically, in between the cycles, there's a very slight pause, maybe a second. So it's out, in, I'm making a little bit extra noise so that you can hear when I switch back and forth. You don't have to be making as much noise as I'm making, but I want you to hear the rhythm and when I switch. So we're just completely closing off this nostril. And you may notice that sometimes you feel clearer in this nostril, and other times of the day you might feel clearer in this nostril, and this one isn't. And that is about in Vedic terms, there are the two paths of the Kundalini that go up, the Sushumna that go up the spine, and there's two of them, and they switch back and forth, and you will notice that. And it's another reason why we do the alternating pranayama, to bring balance between the two parts to the physiology. This is an ancient science of relaxation. It's very effective. And I've been doing it most of my life. And the science of yoga, pranayama, says that this vital energy that we're breathing in, it's not just oxygen, as I said earlier. This is a vital energy. This is the universal cosmic fluid, which Kardec talks about. We're breathing that in. And in breathing it in such a way that we're filling up our entire lungs from the bottom down, not just up here. We're filling them up from the gut because of this diaphragmatic breathing that we're doing. The belly out, the belly in, like that. It's said that the prana, the pranayama practice, can cure disease. And certainly one of the ones we know very obviously from doing this and feeling relaxed is feeling hypertense and feeling stressed. That is a dis-ease. And lowering the blood pressure. All these things can be measured. And feeling how you feel afterwards is certainly a sign of helping your health. So I highly recommend that you do this 2 or 3 times a day. You can do it in the morning when you first wake up. You can do it in maybe the evening before you have your tea, as my wife says, as she's English. Your dinner, that is. You can do it in the middle of the day. And the recommended time is about 10 minutes. Sometimes a little bit more. You could do it for, in the beginning, maybe 5 minutes to get used to it. So let's try it together and for a few minutes and see how that goes. So we're going to be using the right hand, the right thumb for the right nostril, and the ring finger and the middle finger for covering the nostril here, so that the nostrils will be actually closed, so it forces you to breathe through the other side. So we first start by breathing out. because the practice actually brings you into, like a meditation, it's most advantageous to do this with your eyes closed. And of course, please don't do this while you're driving, or operating kitchen equipment or anything. It is a practice that it's all about ourselves. This is a time just for us, taking care of our physiology, taking care of our spirit, or jiva, as they say in Sanskrit, the individual spirit in the body. This is a practice for us. So close your eyes and be in a place where you can't be disturbed with telephones and anybody that might disturb. Tell your children, this is my time. I need 10 minutes. I'm going to go do this. And so we close our eyes and we'll do a few cycles of this together. All right, you can open your eyes. And of course, I'm accentuating doing this only so that you can see what I'm doing. Normally, what you would be doing is just having your hand here and you're just going. So it's like an elephant gait. It's a slow, easy in and out, in and out. Even rhythm, in and out. And like I say, your rhythm might be a little bit slower, a little bit faster. And you pause just a second at the top when you switch to the other side. In and out. And that whole rhythm, it's a royal rhythm that just slows down the whole body. And while you're doing that, you'll be aware of filling up your lungs. You'll be aware of the belly going in and out diaphragmatically breathing. You maybe in the beginning you could have your other hand down here to make sure that you are doing that. But after a while, you will know how it works. It'll be automatic. If you have any questions, just email Cardiac Radio. I'll get the message and I can address it the next time, or I can send you a note back and help you if you're confused about it, because it's a brand new practice, and maybe we'll work on it again next time as well. If you have more questions, if there's several questions, we can address those. Of course, if you have a cold, you're going to have trouble breathing out of one nostril, and that if it's completely blocked, then you don't have much hope. But in most cases, I think most cases we breathe out of both nostrils back and forth. So I'm very happy to give you this, and I've been doing this for too many years to count. And it is a wonderful way to relax and be with the gate of God, in and out. This is how we get through the night. We're breathing in and out slowly through the diaphragmatic breathing, which is the natural way that we breathe. And we forget that natural way of breathing as we get into the world, and the world is so busy that we're just bouncing across from many, many things, and we get into a state of tension. But this slows us down, and you'll find it very useful in relaxing. So please do it twice a day, 5, 10, you could, if you had the time, do it 15 minutes. It's very beneficial for health. It's very beneficial for our spiritual evolution. And make sure that when you're doing this, your fists aren't clenched. You can just, as you go through and breathe, make sure your shoulders aren't raising up like this, or you just feel just dropping and being relaxed as you do this practice. So that's the pranayama. And hello, are we still going? Yes, we are still going. I thought I paused it. I was going to get into the next section. So, dear friends, let us take a moment to be with our Master Jesus and to our Mother Mary. Let's close our eyes and just feel the presence of Mother Mary. Dear Blessed Mother Mary, thank you for blessing our world in this transformational time. Thank you for being with us and soothing our worried hearts and souls. Thank you for healing all of us and for loving us deeply. Thank you for your immense love and kindness you show to all of us. Your love is inspirational to us, and your Son, our guide and model Jesus, taught us many things. But on this Easter day, as I'm recording this, it all fundamentally comes down to love one another as I have loved you. Setting aside our petty differences and being grand in our love. Setting aside the primitive reactive mind and using our higher part, our discerning mind, to set aside our smallnesses and always love grandly and broadly and unconditionally. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you, Master Jesus. Thank you, dear friends. Until next time, for those of you that don't know, to give credits to the music, I am the singer, and the guitarist is my friend David Van Ooyen from Holland, and he made the arrangements. Thank you, dear friends. Many blessings to you all, and so be it.